Now, I'm Bryan Clagett. I'm hosting this. I want to thank Sandy and SmartBots. So today we're with Jay Wells. I've known Jay for several years when he was with EXL. He and I worked together on a couple of credit union clients. Jay, why don't you tell us a little about what you're up to these days and share the exciting news?
Thank you for the nice intro. I've, spent a career working in marketing and advertising, and on the agency side, specializing in financial services and especially performance marketing for financial services in the last 10 years of my career. But moving on to PenAir Credit Union in Pensacola, Florida. So I'll be leading marketing for them, and that's coming up really soon. So sneak peek, you're the first person to know.
Sandy, why don't you tell us about yourself real quick and give us like a little intro about SmartBot?
Sure. So let me start with SmartBots. SmartBots is a generative AI specialist company, and we provide enterprise generative AI solutions which are customized to specific use cases for different industries. We have presence in pharma, telecom, and others. And recently, we've been branching into the banking and financial services space, and we provide a set of pre-built solutions, industry solutions like reconciliation and others, and also a set of pre-built capabilities, technical capabilities, which can be stitched together to give you a solution. I head the go-to-market function at SmartBots, and I've been here for 3 years. So I'm the first non-founder salesperson here, and I've been growing the team and the business for the last few years.
Jay, so from a marketing lens, share with us kind of your thoughts on what's happening with marketing teams and AI. Is the evolution that's occurring or the change that's occurring in your mind, is it a good thing? And how does it impact the world of analytics and decisioning in your marketing world?
From what I'm seeing, Brian, it's introducing a lot of questions. There's a lot of really exciting possibilities. There's also a lot of questions. And it's because AI is just so new and evolving so rapidly that people are just trying to understand the implications of what they're doing. So obviously, on the creative side, it is becoming a force multiplier to generate assets. Are those assets better than human generated assets or not? That's a debatable question. Right now, there's a lot of backlash against AI slop, especially in social media, right? And so brands are kind of grappling now with like how how sloppy is my content? Like, is this does this come across as authentic? Does this come across as a as creative as a human might make it? Human in the loop, you always have to have a person behind the creativity to come up with the strategy and the great ideas. Um, but a lot of questions, Brian. For instance, the ARF, the Advertising Research Foundation, has a identity group, an identity working group, meaning identity of individuals in advertising for targeting, like known versus unknown identity points. And one of the things that they're working on right now is how does a marketing campaign or how does a platform, how does advertising know if it's being consumed by a human or a bot or an agent, right? And wow, the implications, I mean, you could start thinking about it like how many dollars of my marketing investment are going to real human eyeballs? How many are going to, agentic bots that are being deployed in some cases by humans who are doing research, right? And then maybe it's not so bad after all that you're doing something to influence the bots, if the advertising can and does influence the bots, right? So, wow, so many questions. Like, do you pay, should you be paying a different rate to reach a human and a lower rate to reach a bot? So many questions. And how do you know who's a bot and a human anyways? So, like I said, it's evolving really rapidly. There's a lot of really cool like capabilities, but we're just at the peak of understanding what it is that this is all going to change in the future for us.
Yeah, Jay, what are your thoughts on GEO?
Well, you know that saying, like the more things change, the more they stay the same. And the more I understand about GEO and how GEO works, or how essentially, how brands show up in agentic search, um, not a lot has changed, right? You still need, like, the SEO best practices still apply, very much so, right? On the technical side, on the creative side as well, right? So, maybe less about keyword stuffing and, continuing to be about relevancy and answering a very specific question. What I do think is that um, the paid opportunities are going to start accelerating. And we know OpenAI just has some like very rudimentary paid brand placements in their search. So they're going to copy a page. Everybody's going to copy a page from the Google playbook, right? So there's going to be a pay to play. I think that's going to be necessary in order to get your brand in the places where people are searching. So you have a little bit of that mind share, because there are no guarantees, even with the best SEO or the best GEO, that you're going to show up in that search. So paid is very exciting. I would watch that space. I expect that to develop rapidly. There's going to be a lot of followers to what OpenAI is doing, and the complexity and the opportunities to be in that search space for a brand are going to multiply.
Where do you think executives are really getting it wrong when it comes to AI?
The way the AI revolution started 3 years ago, it started with AI answering questions. So most people start with the assumption that AI that answers questions, or the AI which works as a co-pilot, is the starting point for AI. But so one of the things people are getting wrong is that's not necessarily the best way to start with AI to get a good ROI. There are many other ways in which AI can deliver outcomes for you. The second is the intelligence is the shining part of AI, but people are neglecting the plumbing. The plumbing of the data, the integrations, putting it all together. First, getting your process right before you involve AI. Understanding where there's human in the loop, where is AI good, where I can use traditional software, rather than getting bedazzled by the intelligence of the AI model and trying to make it do too much or too less. That's another place where people are getting it wrong. The last one I'll add here is context. The success or failure of any AI project is dependent on how much context you give it. Industry specific context, company specific context, function specific context. That context is what makes that particular AI implementation successful or not. And people are not paying enough attention to context. They say, I have my data here, do some AI magic and intelligence and give me the result. So these are the three places where people are not realizing the full potential of AI.
I think it's still something that a lot of leaders struggle with, because they're not the subject matter experts. They're not technical people usually. And so what they're hearing is, especially in large publicly traded companies, there's an expectation that AI is going to be a force multiplier. It's going to be something to accelerate business growth. And from a stock perspective, obviously, analysts are expecting all companies to have some kind of an AI strategy. Unfortunately, a lot of what that strategy is right now is Hopi dreams. And there's a lot of, jargon and, double speak around what leaders are saying they're going to do. But a lot of them don't really know what it is they're going to do. And it's because this is just evolving so rapidly. It's changing so rapidly. It's very easy for a technology company to say, hey, you know, we're going to use Claude Code and other coding assists to cut down our workforce. Like now we're going to have instead of a whole bunch of junior people, we're going to have a lot fewer junior people, and those junior people are going to be working with these code assistants as interns. And the financial services realm, I don't think the answer is as clear yet, especially when it comes to things like community banks, when it comes to like even regional banks. It's the amount of workforce deployed in coding in those technical areas is relatively a lot less than in a large tech company, right? So the big question for them is, where are the little wins that you can space out around the organization, right? Like in marketing, the little things that you can do to be a force multiplier for content creation, or perhaps like agentic media buying, which is something that's coming about very quickly. These things can help take your team that is already working maybe a little bit under resourced and overburdened, maybe help give them more headroom and allow them to do more. You can accomplish more with those things. On the risk side, what about agentic AI to do better and faster assessing your book of business, or underwriting, for instance? So I think everybody has an opportunity if they're creative about it and they think about it. And some of that means you have to become kind of an expert. You have to read about what is possible. And you need a good advisor. You need people to help you along the way.
And Sandy and Jay, we were having this conversation off camera a minute ago, talking about this orchestration layer or the workflow that goes on. Sandy, talk a little about your philosophy on workflow and the difference between agentic AI and generative AI.
Generative AI is great at creating content and answering questions based on the data that it has been trained on. But and that's great in a B2C kind of a situation where you're looking for wide general knowledge. But when it comes to a specific company for a specific use case for a specific industry, the only part of generative AI that's really useful is its ability to reason and its intelligence. Everything else, which is specific to that particular organization, has to be provided by the solution, by the AI solution. And once you're doing that, just using it for answering questions is not really the best use of AI, except maybe in the case of customer service, where it lends itself to a question answer kind of a format. But in all other use cases, there are actually far more useful ways to use AI, and that's where the workflow part comes in. Automation, using regular automation with AI for reasoning and orchestration will actually give you the power of a junior employee. And that's the promise of AI, that it can actually do, uh, it may not be able to do the job of an expert, but it will be able to do the job of somebody who's doing a repetitive and manual kind of work today. For example, one benchmark which I heard, which was very interesting here, was uh, if you look at the number of spreadsheets that are emailed in an organization every day for people to cross-check data and verify or reconcile it, that's a good indication of how much AI can help. So this whole idea, because all of that where you're checking data in two spreadsheets and putting it in a third place can be done by AI. So using AI as parts of your workflow, not the entire workflow, but wherever it's relevant, and augment human capacity by doing that is our sort of approach to giving workflow based solutions.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And you know how I feel about human in the loop. I know Jay has already touched upon it as well. And Sandy, I know that's a philosophy at SmartBots as well. In a LinkedIn post today, I was talking about what's going on at OpenAI and the big press event that they did yesterday with regards to the 6 new plugins they dropped into Codex, which I think are really interesting. But there was a stat there that kind of jumped out to me, and I'd love to know your thoughts on it. And I think it's what's driving kind of the uncertainty and maybe some of the risk, Jay, that you bring up. And this is a direct quote. Non-developers are currently adopting AI faster than technical teams. Now, I believe that. My own experience is a lot of people dabble in AI, which I think can be a good thing as well as something that's rather dangerous. AI is not the answer to everything, obviously, but Jay, what do you think? I mean, is marketing ready to experiment with AI, or are there is there a more disciplined approach to AI that you think will need to be brought into the marketing department or marketing environment?
Brian, I think that it has to do with perceived threat. The answer is it has to do with perceived threat. Who's going to adopt it? Who's going to embrace the technology, and who's going to resist the technology? And the reason why I say that is because I know that there are many people, like in my circle, who are in, the computer science realm, and they feel very threatened. I know that some of them have been laid off, maybe because of AI, and those wounds are very tender. So, there is this resistance sometimes among people who have spent the years and years learning, getting experience, getting the degree to do something that now is being, quickly and, cheaply replicated by a machine. And obviously, like there's opportunity for them. The opportunity is learning these tools so that you can use your smarts with the tools in order to get more productivity, to do more, to be able to use your smarts to get it done accurately, to redirect the agents. A lot of them do complain that the agents still, like, you spend so much time prompting, you spend so much time trying to get the right results out of them. The way that things are coded is important. And they are very frustrated that, it does sometimes take a very long time in order to get very good results out of it. But that is improving. So on the marketing side, it's kind of similar, and that's with creativity. It's a lot of people who have made creativity their careers are suffering right now because, again, there is a reliance on AI to create assets, and the people who have been, who've done that for a career, are being displaced. So there's a bit of a, if you can't beat them, join them, but a lot of people who are being affected by this, have, a lot of soul searching to do before they come on board.
Sandy, any last thoughts?
On this topic, I think there will be a transition period, and everything that Jay said is going to happen and is very relevant. But after that, there will always be a need for people to come in and do make the differentiation happen. Let's say before 1980, people still did financial analysis without any spreadsheets. Today, I don't know how anybody can do any financial analysis without the spreadsheet. So the spreadsheet leveled the playing field. The same thing will happen in marketing with AI few years down the line. I don't know when, but at that point, the differentiator will become the person who's coming in. But till then, there's a period of churn, and that's what Jay spoke about.
Well, Jay, listen, I really appreciate the time you spent with us today. Best of luck in the new position. I know you've got experience not only in the credit union world, but in banking as a whole and financial services. So for me, it's a natural, and I'm super stoked for you. I think it's going to be a fantastic ride.